Alright, welcome back to the final video. In this video, what we wanted to do is go through and read some of the compatibilities that play within both of our personality types, as well as discuss some of the challenges that we may face in our relationship. And like I said, this isn't we don't necessarily believe everything that we read on the internet, but we wanted to bring this to YouTube because a lot of people don't know that these things can play a factor in who you are as a person as well as your relationship. So with that being said, we'll get into the 5 joys of the INFP/INTJ relationship, as well as the 3 challenges of our relationship. Do you have anything you wanted to let the people know before we start?
No, I just encourage you, if you have a partner or even in friendships and you're just curious about how y'all work together, have them take the test too.
So with that being said, the 5 joys of our relationship. Number 1, they spark each other's imagination. It says, INFPs and INTJs both find joy in visualizing future possibilities and potential, more drawn to what could be than what is. They will likely spend many hours lost in deep conversation about the future, all they could do, all they could experience, and all the mysteries in life that they want to explore. When they sit down to watch Netflix together, chances are they'll both be drawn to imaginative, meaningful films or shows that give them new ideas to toy with. So I can definitely say with this, when they talked about the Netflix aspect of it, we just finished watching The Queen's Gambit, and
yeah, we were both super inspired, just by her work ethic and her dedication to pursuing her dreams. It was amazing. We both kind of took different things away from it, and we and the ending, you just have to see it, but it was super emotionally charged for us, and we ended up hugging and just kind of talking about it a little bit.
Yeah, and the one thing that Bree didn't mention is she started watching it, but then when she saw how good it was, she was like, well, dang, this may be something that J. Lou would probably want to watch. We don't call each other that, but she was like, yeah, this may be something that Babe want to watch as well, and it was good. I don't really watch a lot of TV, but when we do decide to watch TV, this does play a factor. And then when we first started talking, like I said, we had the, okay, let's be honest type questions, instead of running away from the kind of questions that a lot of guys typically run from, she asked anything that she wanted to, but I also led with that kind of stuff, because we like talking about the future as well as what are your plans, and et cetera, et cetera. So I definitely seen this play out throughout our relationship, and I see it playing out even to this day.
And we love to get lost in thoughts sometimes, so it's kind of nice. We mainly do that right before we're about to go to sleep, or maybe when we wake up or something, we do that. So one other thing I wanted to say, when it comes to watching shows with your partner, look, if y'all aren't engaged or married, do not start watching shows with people that you might be unsure about, because there's a lot there. We have a lot of memories together from shows, so just be mindful about that, who you choose to watch shows with.
Yeah, because if you guys don't stick around, I know some people, and I've seen it in my own life, where I started a show with somebody, and then we didn't stay together, and I was like, man, I'm not trying to go back and watch this show. And it just can't stay on with it. I never finished Breaking Bad. I never finished so many different shows. I was just like, nah, man, forget it, bro. I'm not going back to that. So the second one is that they both respect each other's space. And what it says about this is,
INTJs and INFPs both have a great need for personal autonomy. They both strive for independence and need a great deal of time to themselves to process their thoughts and feelings. Since both of these types are introverts, they will be likely to grant each other the space and autonomy they need, which is super big for us. And we kind of already went into that a little bit in some other videos, where if there's something that J. Lou is doing, then I respect his time and his space, and I allow him to do whatever it is he's doing. And likewise for me, we can be in this place together and not have to spend every moment in the same room. And that's important, and it's also healthy for our relationship.
And it's just the introverted part of us that's something that sometimes people can become too clingy. Like extroverts can kind of seem as if they're too clingy sometimes because they want that interaction. But as introverts, because we're so used to kind of like being to ourselves and things of that nature, that's not always the case. But in most cases, what you may notice is that if you have a partner that is a little bit clingy, they may be an extrovert. So you may want to consider that and respect their needs. So but because we respect each other's personal space, we don't really demand. Now there may be sometimes where I'll be like, look, we need some personal time, so we'll go on dates and we'll do real fun things. The third one, it says they help each other strengthen their weaknesses. And before we read this, you guys have seen us on these previous videos. We've been saying this, and it's just like, yeah, this stuff is online, but it's just crazy how accurate this stuff is when you consider it, So it starts off by saying INFPs can help INTJs to get more in touch with their deeper feelings and personal values. They can help them to look to their heart when they make decisions and consider what matters to them on a subjective, internal level.
Then it says INTJs, in contrast, can help INFPs to refine their goals and strategize ways to reach them. They have a skill for breaking down large tasks into smaller steps, and they can inspire INFPs to go after their dreams rather than just thinking about them.
And I know when it comes down to Bree being able to help me, one thing that I already stated is that when it comes to planning out my 5 different journeys and things that I want to do, being able to see her focus on one thing. She'll say, okay, in the morning I'm only doing this and this and this. It allows me to say, you know what, instead of me trying to do everything at once, let me structure my day and say, okay, from 4 to 6 I'm gonna do this, and then from 6 to so and so I'm gonna do this, and then from 7 to 5 I'm working, and I'm only working because being at home, especially during quarantine, I used to think that, okay, while I'm at work, I'm gonna also do other stuff. And what I've learned is, even though I may want to do that because of my personality type, that's not the best. And she's definitely helped me in that regard, be a lot more, productive at work.
Yeah. And also, some of the things that they talk about in terms of him helping me with things or me helping him with things, sometimes he might help me with the things that my personality type would normally help him with, and vice versa. So when it comes to dreams, I know that he's helped me to take more action on my dreams instead of just thinking about them sometimes. And so I might be, helpful to him when it comes to breaking down those tasks and things like that. But he's definitely helped me as well. And then of course, the emotional part, like the connecting with my deeper feelings, which I already felt like I did, but when I met Justin or J. Lou, it kind of just, he showed me another side of that, like a whole other way to dig deeper into who I am and what I believe and be firm in it.
Yeah. And it's just also, it's like being able to express it because, like I said, she already was in tune with herself. But sometimes the struggles was being able to communicate that with me on the emotional level. And I've definitely been able to see how she's been able to express that a lot more. And the things that she used to say, oh, I'm not good at that. She's not saying that as much, So the next thing says they are both relentlessly curious. So when it reads through this, it says INFPs and INTJs are both drawn to novel and innovative ways of doing things. They enjoy amassing facts and learning new theories. They rather think outside the box than follow a conventional approach, and the shared passion propel them down many exciting pathways in intellectual discovery.
We want to know how things work, how they function together, how they function alone, just all of that. So it's true. And
one of the things that I noticed, because Bree, since she's a photographer, is that when COVID first started, she came up with this concept and idea to do FaceTime photo shoots, right? And we may put some pictures onto the screen or we may not. But long story short, like I looked at some of these photos and I couldn't tell that it was like a FaceTime photo shoot. Like when she goes through and describes the process, it's basically taking screenshots while she's doing FaceTimes, but the way that she does it and like the quality of the photos and to be able to communicate to the model that she is taking pictures of, the ability to express exactly, okay, I need you to stand here, da 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 da. Like, it was truly something that I was like, okay, yeah, that's out of the box. I would not have thought of something like that, you know. But that's kind of how both of our personality types, we help each other in that regard. So then the last and final joy that we share with each other is, it says they are both deeply loyal.
Yep. INFPs and INTJs take their commitments to people very seriously. Neither are likely to be players, except on rare occasions. Both have deep, passionate feelings when they're in a relationship and are unlikely to be wishy-washy or careless about the person they choose to love. I'll say this, definitely agree with it. And also, when we choose a partner, or like the partners that we've chosen in the past, we didn't do that carelessly. Any person that I've been with, I thought that was who I was going to be with.
Yeah.
At whatever time period it was in my life. So I never, I take those things very seriously, which is also why when things end, it hurts. You know, it hurts a lot. It's not like just, oh, well, you know, because we take our time with choosing, you know?
Yeah. So. But with that being said, that goes into the 3 struggles of our relationship based off of our personality types. First one, it says they both have different needs for closure. So with this one, I'll let Bree go ahead and read what INTJs are.
Yeah. So INTJs like to have their lives planned out, decided, and prepared. They can become anxious and irritable when life lacks structure or clear direction. Being spontaneous or flexible can be a struggle for them because it makes them feel restless and uncertain how to plan their lives.
And then with INFPs, in contrast, we are more flexible and easygoing. Having all their time planned out can feel suffocating to them. They are more likely to approach their date with a flexible, leisurely pace, whereas INTJs are more likely to approach their date with a clear plan, a to-do list, and specific goals. And then in summary, it says both of these types can get on each other's nerves if they are unwilling to oblige to the other person's needs. INFPs should try to be on time for dates and remember our obligations.
And INTJ should be careful not to micromanage the INFP's time or force them into too much structure. A certain amount of compromise is essential here.
All right, so when it comes to the first struggle, we definitely see how some of these things play out in regards to our relationship. And when we first started, they played out a lot more. But as time went on, and just like I said, the more and more I got to know myself, the more and more I got to know Bree, then I started recognizing, like, okay, that may be a strength in her life that's not a strength for me. And because I'm very confident in what I want to do, I can't allow that to come across as arrogance. And like I said earlier with the, like if I'm focused on something and not helping out with cleaning around, like I can't be like that because that can get on her nerves. She may not say it, but it can be something to where little things like that, y'all may be thinking that stuff don't matter, but that stuff matters. Like when it comes to relationships, it's the little things that add up. That matter every single day. It's not the big things, because anybody can get proposed to, but when you're living with somebody, it's those little things that you'll see that really blend you together or tear you apart.
Me being someone who has a list in my head at all times, I'm learning to be more communicative with J-Lou, like to say, okay, this is what I want to do today. And he will ask me now, like, what's your plan for the day? So that he's aware of whatever it is I'm trying to do. And I noticed that. I may not have said it to him before, but I like being asked that so that I can have the opportunity to share with him what I want to do. And then he can share with me what part of that he wants to be included on. And then if he has something else he wants to do, he'll let me know.
I'm kind of so used to just being like on my own schedule that by being in a relationship, like respecting, okay, that's what Bree wants to do. So therefore I can't be as just all willy-nilly. So then therefore I've gotten to the point where I tell people straight up, hey man, I only have this much time. Yeah. Because in the background I've already devoted time in my heart. I probably haven't expressed it, but I'll say, okay, by 6 p.m. I'm trying to be done with X, Y, and Z, so therefore we can eat together. You know, like that's something that's important to me, is that when we eat, we can sit down and we have conversations together and everything like that, you know. So, but yeah, there's definitely something that is a struggle and has been struggles in our relationship. But it's not everything that's 100%. So the second one says, both have different ways of approaching decisions. When INFPs and INTJs decide on something, INFPs will look to their values and personal feelings first,
whereas INTJs will look at the logic and weigh the pros and cons first.
INFPs may want to know how the INTJ feels about the decision,
and the INTJ may feel that this is completely irrelevant. INTJs might want the INFPs to get past their feelings and focus on the logic first. This can result in fiery conflicts or bitter arguments if one or both types are being impatient. Each partner in this relationship needs to grant the other partner time to work through their personal feelings and the logical components of a decision. If one partner is being too one-sided, then the other can gently remind them of their thinking or feeling components they may need to address.
And one thing I can say is we've definitely, by being aware of it, I've been able to say, okay, like just going back to the proposal video, like I told you guys, I knew she was going to ask a lot of questions. So I made sure that I took this necessary steps to get around it, but I knew on the day of the proposal, she was going to have a lot of questions. So some people may look at it and be like, well, why is she asking all those questions? But my thing is, I already knew that about our personality type, and when people don't know these things about it, they'll see it as a negative. Like we mentioned earlier, like these things that we're saying doesn't make us better than others, and that doesn't mean other people are better if they have different qualities.
Yeah. It's
just more about knowing who you are. So therefore, when you choose to love someone, you can love every aspect about that person rather than criticizing them in ignorance. You know, like if it's because I know that she goes off of more of her thinking senses, then I don't allow the questions or just kind of like the seeking of information to annoy me.
In the same vein, I'm also learning that if he approaches things with his feelings first, then I can't always just come in like, hey, let's think about this. What about this or this? Like weighing the pros and cons of the situation or trying to just apply logic, because I still want to be aware of what his needs are in our relationship just as he is of mine, you know, so.
And the thing that they basically said was that one of the things that I try to do is when I see that she's getting like kind of like firing questions left and right, I'll ask her, I say, hey babe, can you give me a second?
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, you gotta come up with creative ways to allow you to be yourself as well as allow your partner to be themselves as well, so that they don't feel as if they are being forced or they're being neglected. The last thing that we wanted to address, the third struggle, says the different needs for emotional connection. Now with this one, it states that INFPs often, but not always, crave a stronger sense of emotional connection than INTJs do. They have rich and intense passions and want to feel a strong connection to the authentic passions of their partner.
INTJs, in contrast, are often more detached from their feelings, more focused on impersonal analysis than inner emotional reflection. They can struggle to open up to their partner on the level or frequency that INFPs crave. This can result in frustration when INTJs feel pressured to be more emotionally demonstrative than they want to be.
Or INFPs feel more distance from their partner than they want to be.
Some of that was a little hard to read because I know sometimes I might feel that I'm having a strong emotional connection with J-Lou, but when I speak to him, he may not be receiving that. He's like, that's not what's happening at all. You're just talking, you know. And I think one of the things that I'm learning from him is how to be more, not just transparent when it comes to logic, but transparent about my feelings as well. Like, hey babe, I didn't like this, or hey babe, I love this, you know, and just communicating that more often. Also learning how to receive that, because I think maybe because of my personality type, sometimes it can be hard for me to receive other people's feelings without thinking that maybe there's something that needs to be fixed. You know, like, okay, if they're telling me all this, something must be wrong, you know, or this is a lot to handle at once. Even positive feelings, you know, positive emotions sometimes can overwhelm me. And so I'm learning how to adjust to that with Justin and embrace who he is rather than try to run away from it.
And I know that was very important within our relationship, because a lot of times people, whether men or women, they try to make the person be who they want them to be, you know. And women sometimes will get in relationships with men where they don't like the man, but they think that they can subconsciously change him or make him in a different way. And then guys will do the same thing, where they'll get with a woman and say, oh, well, I'll try to get her to do this, 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 and this. But by knowing that in our relationship, we don't try to force those things, knowing that for me, I'm like along the 50% of the feelings. I don't really get too much into the feeling neglected from an emotional standpoint, you know. So that's not something that Bree has to worry about. But because she's aware of it, then it's something that doesn't it doesn't rise up as a struggle in our relationship. But when things do come out to where we may not be seeing eye to eye, like we have a joke where we say we're reading the same book, and it's like we'll say, we're on the same page.
Or it's like, we're in the same book, but we're in a different chapter or something like that.
So, and that's just a funny way just to basically say, okay, let's bring this back to center.
Yeah.
And let's be grounded in our love, so therefore we can just keep growing. Because one of the things that when we pray as a couple together, and I'm not suggesting that you have to, but the reason why we do it is it makes us get closer on a more intimate level. Not just people think intimacy is a physical standpoint, but when we have our struggles and we pray over our struggles together, it allows us to be transparent with each other about, okay, this is what I'm struggling with, and I'm asking for help in this area, et cetera, and it lets my partner know that that's what I'm working on, and Bree does the same thing. So therefore we can show grace to each other, because if you don't communicate these things, or if you're not even aware of it, you will be getting arguments and just a whole bunch of petty debates over things that can be easily resolved.
Right. Absolutely. And the last thing I wanted to say was, you have to be willing to not just do the work within yourself to learn. Like I said, the personality type test is a tool. It's one of many tools. So if you want to utilize this, it's a great start to kind of getting to dig deeper into who you are. But when you have a partner, you also have to be willing to get to know what their type is, and do the research and the work on theirs as well, to see how y'all mesh together and have those conversations. Some people might find this stuff interesting because of their personality type, and then some people may not. But I would challenge you, if you are with someone and you want to just find a tool to use, this is a great way to start. Introduce them to it. The test might take you 10
to 15
minutes. It's a lot of questions. It's like 70 questions, but you'll work through them. You'll get your results right away. And I feel like it's 15 minutes that could change your life. You know, that will change your life, because the more you get to know about yourself, the more your life will change. It's nothing but improving upon who you already are, like to get to know more about you. And again, we've already stated that this isn't everything on here. Right, this isn't the standard. This is just a tool to help.
Yeah, and one thing I can speak on that, because of my personality type being the idealist, kind of mediator type person. When I first read this, like, I got so passionate about it, because I always felt that that there's things out here in the world that explains who we are. Mm-hmm. So I started sharing with everybody. I was like, yo, man, you need to take this, you need to take this. And when I started learning, man, people wasn't taking it. And at first I was like, dang, man, this thing helped change my life. And it's like, you don't even want to spend like any time. But then I had to say, you know what, like, maybe their personality, they have that personality where they don't believe in this kind of stuff. They just want to go off of their own internal beliefs. And the reality is, everything that we read, I believe in personal development. You know, so everything that I read is to improve and to get better. One of the things that I just want to say real briefly is that a lot of times people will see me and say, well, man, it seems like you're very successful in this, and this. And they want to know, how am I able to do all these different things? But it's only because I learned who I was, as well as what I could and what I could not tolerate. And then when you have a partner that they share the same beliefs of knowing who they are, as well as trying to help you improve your weaknesses instead of criticize you over your weaknesses, it only made me better, you know. So ultimately, that's one reason why we wanted to make this video, is to let more people know about it, especially more couples.
Yeah.
Now, I don't recommend doing this on the first date.
No.
Because they can be intimidating, and at the same time, what you want to do is allow the relationship to grow.
Yeah.
But by the second date, she actually, no, I'm playing. But eventually we got around to the conversation of talking about the personality types, and it just really benefited our relationship.
Yeah.
And I, like in the beginning, and it's benefiting us every single day. Even going through this right now, we didn't read through these things before we shot the video. We was reading through these things as we were shooting this. So it definitely kind of reaffirmed our growth as well as where we're going. So with that being said, I don't have anything else. Did you have anything?
That's all we got. It's time to eat.
So it's your boy J. Lou.
And it's your girl Briggs.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.